We're going to Europe. In today's episode, we are talking about the 4-week European vacation we are taking this summer instead of sending our kids to summer camp. Tune in if you want to find out how we're doing it, how we're funding it, and what is on the itinerary.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Sugar Daddy Podcast, where we help you build a clear financial plan so you can feel confident and in control of your money. We are heading to Europe, and we wanted to tell you all about it because this is a big trip that we've been planning for like the last 8 or 9 months. And I jokingly...
I love how you said we.
I know. I was giving you credit, and then I rolled my eyes in my head. And I was like, I'm just going to stick with we because we're a team. But it was me. It was 99.9% me. But it's fine because Brandon's going to carry all the luggage. So we both have our roles in this. We both have our roles. But I jokingly put up a reel months ago. And I was like, you know what? Because you have to start looking at summer camp like a year in advance to sign up for the camps that you want. And I was like, gosh, for 2 kids in summer camp, for let's call it 5 weeks. I mean, easily, let's on the low end, which I don't even know how you're going to get away with this, but let's call it $2,500 on the low end, up to easily I've seen up to $6,000, depending on what kind of camp you might be sending your kid to. For us, our highest camp that we've sent the kids to in the past, because our kids are in year-round school, so they are in school for 9 weeks, they track out for 3, and then they have like a 5.5-week summer. The most expensive camp we've sent them to is about $360 a week. So you multiply that by 2, you're already at over $700. It adds up quickly. So I kind of was like, do we take the $3,500 and leave the country for a month? And
yeah, that was basically the conversation.
I mean, that's basically what happened. And so it was kind of like a funny reel of like, man, these summer camps are crazy expensive. What if we just spent the summer in Europe? And then I did it. So shout out to Point.me, which I absolutely love. I've been booking all of our flights only after looking at Point.me, and it's a flight aggregator to help you find the best flight deals using points and miles. And if you've been here with us for a while, I love the travel hacking game. We went to Aruba for Christmas last year on a credit card that we opened last summer that gave us 80,000 bonus miles. And that is exactly what we ended up paying, 80,000 bonus miles to get our family of 4 to Aruba. And that was amazing. It was a $95 credit card with the first year waived, so a $0 credit card. And that one was like crazy cool because it literally was like make a purchase. It did not have a minimum spend, which was like unheard of. So it was essentially a free credit card. I think I bought some coffee on it, paid that card off, never used it again, got our 80,000 miles, and then literally went to Aruba and paid I don't know, under $200, I think, for taxes. So we love that game. We ended up doing that for Europe.
She does all that as well.
Yeah. And then
she keeps track of all the different cards we're going to use for different purposes to get these different perks for different trips. She has a whole matrix and she handles all that.
My brain is always...
I'm just like, which cards are we using for the next few months?
Yep.
And she lets me know.
I tell them, I'm like, use this one for this, use that one for that. Don't use any of the others. And so anyways, we ended up finding really great flights to Barcelona. I basically was like, okay, we got to get into Europe the cheapest. And then once you're in Europe, it's really quite easy to country hop. And so we ended up booking flights through Air France, but it's a Delta operated flight from North Carolina straight into Barcelona for 30,000 points a person. So for 120, what is that? 120,000 points plus taxes and fees. We're flying into Barcelona. We're going to spend a week there. Then we'll head over to Paris. We're also doing Paris Disney, which is a surprise for the kids. They still don't know that. We're actually staying on property at Disneyland Paris, which
It'll
I'm
be a
really
big
excited
surprise to
about.
see their face when we
Oh
pull
my
up
gosh,
because they have no idea.
it's gonna be so great. And whenever we've priced out Disney in the United States, I'm always like, no, we'll just leave the country instead.
That's a big thing. Disney over there, Disney is way less expensive
Yes,
than
and it
here.
is Disneyland. It is not Disney World, so it is different. But our kids are 6 and 8. You know, they complain about walking around the block. So I'm just not at that place where I'm like going to spend all the money on Disney World
Yeah, because we've
to
done
hear them complain about walking around in the
the
heat.
Disney cruise
We've
now,
done that. They loved that.
and then
And now we'll do
the next
Disney
step.
Paris. And it's much more affordable. We're doing 4 days, 3 nights on property. What's really nice, and I don't know if this is for all Disney, if you're staying on property, but at Disneyland Paris, you actually get to enter the property the day that you arrive and the day that you depart. So you have those like bookends, which I think is really nice. And then we'll have the 2 full days, I guess 2 full days on property. They just opened like Frozen Land and all these things, and we're just really, really excited about that. So that'll be a huge surprise. We're going up to the 2nd floor in the Eiffel Tower. We're going to the Louvre. We're doing the Christian Dior Museum. And I do want to call out because, of course, in my head, I was like, we're going to break even with what camp would have cost in the US. Okay, I was a little delusional there. That's obviously not the case. We are spending significantly more, but we're also getting so much more.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be really, really incredible. But one thing that I've been telling Brandon as I'm booking all these tickets is in Europe, it really feels like the countries want you. They want you to be out in these streets.
Yeah.
Like they want you at the things. They want you at the museums. They want you at the monuments. They want you in the gardens. They want you at the tourist attractions because the tickets are so affordable.
I've always said, like, from a sporting event standpoint, like, the United States does it all backwards.
So wrong. Like, why isn't it this exclusive, I've got to have thousands of dollars to go see the sporting event? Like, it should be an event that brings the community together that is affordable. Like, I mean, I took Roman to Monster Jam, a few months ago. Parking alone was $40. I mean, that was prepaid parking. I think it was like $56 or $57 like day of. That's insane. So as I'm booking these tickets to go to the Louvre, and the kids' tickets are drastically reduced. Senior citizen tickets drastically reduced. Student tickets drastically reduced. And then even they have disability tickets where you can go in for free if you have a card that states that you're somehow disabled. And if you have a caretaker or, somebody that maybe is helping you around in the wheelchair, etc., those people also can get in either at a very reduced cost. Like I'm talking €2 or €3 or completely free. So I mean, I was booking tickets to get in the Eiffel Tower and go to the Louvre, and it was half the price of what it would cost us to go to a museum in Durham, North Carolina as a family of 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wild.
I've always, like I said, I mean, I'm a big soccer fan. I've, grew up playing soccer, and the cost of going to like an MLS game in comparison to what you could pay to go to like an English Premier League game is ridiculous. And the English Premier League, significantly higher quality in comparison to MLS, but like
it just, that to me is what's really getting out of hand here in the US, and it's so frustrating. But as I'm booking all these tickets in multiple countries, because we're actually doing 4 countries, so Spain, France, the Netherlands, and Germany, and as I'm booking all of these excursions and activities for us, they are so significantly lower price than anything that I've been used to here. I mean, we went to the movies a few weeks ago and it was $40. It was $40. It was like $39.96.
That was just to watch the movie. That was
not popcorn.
Nothing.
That was not drink. That was to sit your behind in a chair and watch the movie.
Yeah.
And the seats didn't even recline.
Sure did not.
So, I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm really excited. We have so many things. I've got a whole spreadsheet, 5 tabs, I mean, you have to stay really organized when booking a trip like this and doing a trip like this. But I think it's going to be really great. In the Netherlands, we're going to take the kids to the Anne Frank Museum, which again, I think the total was like €22 for us to go to see this like beautiful, amazing like part of history. We just got our daughter the book. We're going to read it together as a family so that they know what they're getting into. We're doing the more like children's version of the Anne Frank Diary. And then we're also doing an 18-mile countryside bike tour in Amsterdam. Really excited. I get to see one of my dear friends from college. He's going to come with us on that. And then we're going to finish out our adventure. I'm calling it our summer of frolicking. I've been using the word frolic a lot, so it's our summer of frolicking. And we are going to finish out in Germany, where I was born and raised, and some of our friends from Poland are coming with their kids. Some of my friends that are still living there that have their families there now, we're going to get together and literally do the things that I did while there growing up. When I say I'm so just geeking out about it, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Like to get our friends and their kids together with our kids on this like epic adventure, I'm just like, I could not be happier right now.
yeah. The reason we have friends that live in Poland is because right after we got engaged, Jess had an opportunity through her job at the time to open an office in Poland. So she was there for 5 or 6 months.
Yeah. Like 2 weeks after we got
Yeah.
engaged, I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going to move to Poland. Yeah. So we have really good friends from Poland that are coming. They now have 2 daughters, and I'm just so excited. I really feel like our kids are old enough to remember this.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just going to be so epic and so amazing. And, I think also, obviously, this is still an expensive trip. However, I think the experiences and what they're going to be able to see from that part of the world and what they're going to be able to take with them is going to be so magical and memorable. And then also, we've been able to shape a lot of our conversations about money with them around what we're doing. So when our daughter comes home and says, well, so and so gets their nails done, which, first of all, I'm like, you're 8. We're not getting your nails done. But, I'm like, okay, but does so and so go to Aruba for Christmas? Does so and so go on the Disney cruise? Does so and so get to spend, their summer in Europe? The answer is no. So we prioritize making memories together as a family, traveling, seeing the world together. Those are our values. Our values are not in the kinds of cars we drive and the kinds of, things that we wear, etc. So I think it's a really good opportunity too to help them understand where we spend our money and why. And as they've gotten older, they really do understand that going on the trip, doing the thing, making the memory is so much more impactful than unpacking some other plastic thing that they're going to play with for 20 minutes and then it goes back into, the rest of the pile.
I think also you can tell people who have had, been fortunate enough to travel from a young age or travel throughout their life, because I think it provides you a different perspective on the world.
Totally.
I think here in the United States, whether, you maybe don't have enough money to travel or you choose not to travel, there's a very narrow perspective in regards to when it comes to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And, traveling and being able to do that at a young age, I know for myself and for Jess, completely helped to shape our perspective as adults. And we want to make sure that we give our kids the same, opportunity to do that as well, because it provides you a lot more empathy for other people that are different from you when you're able to travel more and experience different cultures and different, countries and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because then you start to realize the United States has pros, benefits, but like, it's not the best place in the world. Like I'm just being honest. If you say like the United States is amazing, it's the best place in the world, it tells me you really have not been anywhere else.
Yeah, because the people that are well-traveled, I don't, none of the people in our circle who are very well-traveled are like, go America. Like, it's just not, there's so much more. There's so much more. Let's just leave it at that. Whew, okay. I do want to get into a couple of I don't know if they're tips or tricks, but these are kind of fundamental things that we do when we travel. Now, we have not traveled together as a family for 4 weeks. So this is going to be an adventure in and of itself. And I think by the end of the 4 weeks, if we all still love each other, it might be a miracle, but I also think it's going to be fine.
Yeah. Also, my mom's coming. So
yeah, I wasn't even going to mention that. So we booked the tickets way in advance. Now, I know that there's a ton of material online that, they'll tell you book your tickets 47 days in advance and book your tickets 68 days in advance for international. And Yeah, like there's sweet spots, right? Like I'm not going to ever book a ticket at noon on a Tuesday, right? Like I get that. I book tickets on a VPN, like I do all those kinds of things to give myself the best shot. I even saw something recently about going to the public library
I
since
saw that.
now a lot of these companies are actually, because they have so much data on who we are before we even sign in, and they're basically pricing things based on what they know about you. So if you're a high earner, if you have lots of assets, if your credit score is super high, you have lots of credit cards, things like that, that they can basically scrub your data on, which they're doing whether we want them to or not, your flight might be less than the person booking the same flight from a public domain at the library. So I'm going to play around with that, honestly, because I want to see, what they showed was like several $100s in price difference.
That's crazy.
The bad part about that is I think they block you being able to use points and miles. Like you can't actually get on your portals
Uh-oh.
in that forum. So I need to do some research. I'll report back. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Um, we use points and miles for all of our flights. So our flight there, our flight back, and we have 2 in-country flights. Those were also booked with points and miles. Like our flight from Barcelona to Paris was like 4,000 points a person. You could also fly for like $100 a person, but when you multiply it times 4, that's another $400, dollars plus taxes and fees. Then you're at $600. I just wanted to use points. I think we paid like $9 in taxes. So book early. I mean, I spend a lot of time looking up flight information to
You
find the
do.
best deal. So, like, if you see me on my phone, I'm probably looking at my next flight. So book early and then use point.me. I have a paid subscription. It has paid for itself 10 times over. I highly recommend it. We'll link them in the show notes and I'll see if I can get a discount code for you. I think also because this is such a long trip and we're going to different countries, being able to wash and dry clothes quickly was really important. So instead of hotels, we're mostly doing Airbnbs. We wanted to have at least 2 bathrooms, again, because we're going to be 3 adults, 2 children. We wanted washer, we wanted dryer, and we wanted AC. So Paris actually just had like this huge heat wave. I'm like, I didn't want to walk through Paris in 96 degrees. Hopefully it'll come back down, but the point is, we're basically going to try to pack a week's worth of clothes and mix and match and just wash clothes every few days and before heading to our next destination.
Yeah, and Paris is the only place that we're not staying in an Airbnb.
That's not accurate.
Oh.
We have a gorgeous Airbnb booked for Paris. Because we're going to Paris and then we're going to Disney.
See, I didn't plan.
Passenger princess much? We have a gorgeous accommodation in Paris.
I gotta look at the spreadsheet again, evidently.
Once we have stayed and have left that country, you can DM me and I will send you the link. Obviously, we're not going to post that right now, but Brandon apparently is staying somewhere else. Okay, so the other thing that I'll say is for the most part, we're doing a lot of the touristy things. Most days, I'm trying not to do more than one touristy thing at a time. In the event that we needed to do, because like in Paris proper, we're not there for very long. So there is a day where like we go to the Louvre in the morning, and then in the evening we're doing like the river cruise to see all the sites lit up and the Eiffel Tower, etc., from the river. So in most cases, we're doing one thing a day, not 2. And it's because there's so much, you can just walk, you can explore, you can just sit down in parks, you can sit at the cafe and people watch. Like, I really want the kids especially to just kind of absorb the European life, which is so much slower pace.
Because also, too, this is in part also kind of a trial run to see if we might move abroad.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is like our little European adventure of, could we do this long term?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always, when we go, especially with the kids, maybe less so when it's just Brandon and I, but especially when we're traveling with the kids, I enroll us in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, STEP. If you Google that, it'll come up, but it's a free U.S. government service that allows citizens traveling or living abroad to receive real-time safety and security and health alerts from the nearest U.S. embassy and consulate. It also lets them know where you're going to be. So if we needed to show up at the consulate in Barcelona, for example, they would now have record that we were supposed to be in the country. For example, I got an alert this morning saying that the Pope is now going to be in Barcelona while we are there. So of course they're talking about, increased traffic, road closures, all those things that we just need to be aware of. It's also, a lot of these big cities have big pickpocket. That's like it's a whole business for some of these families. So when you have these major events or concerts or prominent people coming, that's their gold rush, right? So you're going to have to be on
So it brings
extra alert.
brings more tourists in.
Exactly. So, you want to be safe about things like that. So I really like enrolling in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. It's totally free. You'll get text messages and emails and updates on like what's happening. It'll also keep you up to date on any kind of civil unrest, health concerns, etc. So I always recommend that, especially when traveling with kids. The other thing I just did is I order our currency from our home bank. The euro and the dollar, it's not a great time to go to Europe right now. But I know that doing my currency exchange at the airport or at one of those kiosks is going to cost me much more. So you can actually go to your bank, request the currency ahead of time. I did it yesterday. They called this morning already and said it's in. I was going to give it 3 to 5 days. Always better to be early than late. But I always recommend getting currency ahead of time so that you're not paying those extra fees. Always use a credit card. Please do not travel with a debit card.
No.
I mean, we have a whole episode on why you should be using a credit card over a debit card, but especially when you're traveling, you need the protections of the credit card, and you want to use a credit card that has a $0 like international or foreign transaction fee. So that means you're not getting charged every single time you swipe your card to use the card abroad.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Because they also is letting your credit card, whatever credit card you're actually going to bring with you and use, letting your credit card company know that you are going to be traveling in said countries so that they don't,
Yes.
flag it as fraud and cut your card off.
Yeah, I stopped doing that as much. I do plan on doing that next week for the cards that we plan on using, just because we are going to be traveling, to 4 different countries. I do think on the back end now, these banks, they can see that we booked the flights, we booked the train tickets, we've been making these transactions in these different cities leading up to it. So I do think we'd be fine. But I like to travel with my Amex for these kinds of major expenses. Amex is not widely accepted in Europe, so that's something to call out. But I'm still going to let them know. And then also any of the other credit cards, I'll just call the 1-800 number on the back, let them know so that they can notate the account, because the last thing you want is to have your account frozen, your internet's not the same, all of those things. Just whatever you can plan for, get ahead of. Do it while you're in the comfort of your home. You have your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Do it before you arrive. The other thing that I do, and you can call me old school, is I will have a paper copy of everything. I will have a paper copy of the front or like the main pages of our passports. I will have a paper copy of the front and back of our credit cards. I have a printed out copy of all of our tickets with confirmation numbers. I will be printing out our Google Docs spreadsheet with all of our addresses, confirmation numbers, everything. Anything that we need for this trip, I will have a paper copy of.
And I think and the sad part is that it's actually more needed now, especially coming back into the United States.
Yeah, I'm just not going to risk anything.
So as far as having all that, additional documentation, and even, especially possibly even leaving, coming back in the United States, turning off facial recognition on your phone.
Yeah, or having your phone completely off. Like, it might even be beneficial to just have the paper ticket that you get at the gate while we're checking luggage and stuff anyways. And just for security purposes with what's going on with our government, just turning everything off, turning off facial recognition, because we've all seen the things online and it's getting crazy out there. So I don't need anybody going through my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, if you're booking things out of the country, double, triple check the sites. I remember specifically telling Brandon, like, oh, the tickets to the Louvre are only like $22. And then when I thought that I was on the Louvre official website, they had like jumped up and it was like $68. And I was like, am I losing my mind? Like, what happened? So something told me to just do another Google search. And I ended up on a Reddit thread. And the Reddit thread had basically been talking about all these scam sites that were popping up that basically look identical to the official sites for the big things like the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower and La Grada Familia in Barcelona and just the big tourist attractions. And so just double and triple check. And then, yeah, if you want to go down the Reddit feed, people will post like, this is actually the official site. Just make sure that you're not getting scammed in the process of like booking your dream vacation.
Yeah, and once again, one extra layer of added protection there is using a credit card instead of your debit card
Yes,
to
never
pay for
use a
said
debit
things.
card. Absolutely not. Main attractions that require tickets, right? If you're thinking of like, hey, I want to go up to the Eiffel Tower or I want to go to La Grada Familia, those types of things you want to book ahead of time. I was stalking the websites. I had like alarms set. And even then, I still missed the ideal date for us to go to see La Grada Familia. So now we're actually going to see it on the day that we arrive, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. And at least we have a ticket for it. But some of these, they open up a window. And again, if you're on VPN versus not, like sometimes it makes a difference, but just stay on it because you don't want to miss out on this is not a movie theater. Like you can't just roll up the day of and expect to get a ticket. They
Depending on
will
what movie it is, you can't do the same thing either.
I mean, that's true. They will turn you away. Download any of your favorite travel apps before you leave your home country. We already have international phone plans, so we are opting not to get an eSIM. But I did price it out, and most people, if they don't have an international plan, will spend about $10 a day on data services.
Which can add up.
Which, yeah, if you're staying somewhere for a month, that's easily $300 right there. You can get an eSIM for 30 days for under $80. So do that in your home country. You can activate it once you land. Download all of your apps, download your Google Translate. Uber is not super widely used in Europe. They prefer what's called Bolt. So like things like that, just be prepared, have it on your phone. The last thing you want to do is to be like standing at the airport after a long flight. You're ready for a shower, you're looking for your luggage, and now you can't order your car, right? So just be mindful. When it comes to taxis and car services, if you're checking into a hotel, usually they will have a price list to tell you, hey, to get from here to here or to get from here to this main attraction should only cost you this much money. Ask for that information. At this point, you can Google it.
I would say also too, like with Google Maps, it'll often show you what you should be paying for a fare from one destination to the next.
Yeah. And in Paris, they have very specific, they're basically like boroughs. And when you get into the taxi cab, you should be verifying, right? Because there are people that will take advantage of tourists that are not educated. They didn't do their research.
We got in Prague back in the day.
We did get got in Prague.
I mean, luckily it ended up being like an additional like
$20 or something.
$10. It was like $10 or something yeah. But it was twice what it should have
been. Yeah. And we had like the worst flight of our lives.
And this is back in 2015.
Oh my gosh. It was the worst.
2016.
But we learned we don't do it anymore, and one thing too, use public transit.
Yeah.
Like that's what we plan to do as much as possible. Plus it's part of the experience. I think our kids are going to love it. It's pretty reliable in Europe. Like it's pretty on time. I'm not going to say it's perfect, obviously, but a lot of the countries now, I know Barcelona, Germany, and Paris, they actually allow you to buy cards for like 24 to up to 72 hours. And in that bulk price. So instead of paying, €2 each way or €6 to go here and here, which will add up, especially as a family of 4, you can buy a bulk price ticket for, a set price for 24 to 72 hours. And then you can hop on any public transit. So that's the trams, the subways, the buses. Sometimes it's like the, above ground trains. So Do your research, use public transit. It's part of the experience. I love exploring public transit. You're not sitting in traffic, and again, especially if you're traveling with kids, it's part of the experience.
Yeah.
I love it. Um, I'll also say, research tip culture, cultural and social norms, key phrases and pleasantries. Like I can tell you in Germany, for example, when you go out to lunch or dinner, if your bill comes to 15 euros and 30 cents, you can round up to 16 euros because the people that are serving you are making a living wage. They
Yeah.
have health insurance, they have benefits. They are not living off of your tips like they are here in the United
Yeah,
States.
tipping culture in the United States is very different in comparison to most European countries.
Yeah, so just look those things up. For example, in France, like you cannot walk into a building without saying bonjour. Like you will have to acknowledge the people that are there. Like
So I
if
can't say hi.
no, you need to say bonjour. You're not going to be an American.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I am American.
So do your research, be polite, do the things that are publicly acceptable within those cultures and within those countries, and you know, be respectful of the country that you're in.
Yeah, don't be that annoying American traveling abroad. Don't be that
Don't
person.
don't be that person.
We all know that person. Don't be that person.
Yeah. If you're listening to our podcast, you're probably not that
But you
person.
probably know someone who's been that
Oh, of
person.
course. We all know somebody. Make sure, of course, that you have the right electrical outlets or adapters or converters for your electronics. And then a spare battery. Like you're going to be taking pictures and videos and, using your apps, trying to get around, figuring out, which train color in line to get on. Yeah, all of that's going to drain your battery. So just be prepared. The last thing you want to do is be standing on, the corner of some Paris street and you have no idea where you're supposed to be going. So have your adapters, have your chargers, make sure everything's loaded up and bring a spare battery. You're going to need it. Yeah. And then, we put air tags in all of our luggage. I think that's really important. Even if the airline cannot locate it, I want to be able to tell them where it is.
And in all honesty, in certain aspects, I might put an air tag on our kids.
Yeah, I no, totally. Like
So
I don't hate that idea. I mean, we have extra air tags. So, track your luggage, especially if you're checking it. Speaking of luggage, do not overpack. Europe is not the place for you to be schlepping around huge luggage, especially if you're going to be using public transit. I know, for example, our Airbnb in Germany, there's no elevator, and I think we're going up to the fourth floor. So we're all going to be getting
yay!
a great workout
All
in.
Brandon's gonna be carrying
Yes,
everything
I
up.
plan the trip, he carries. But things to think about. And then also on the trains, there's not a ton of storage. So again, if you're bringing huge luggage and a backpack and you're traveling, as multiple people, like you might be sitting on that suitcase right under your feet because the trains are just not made for that. Like
Yeah.
you might be going from country to country, but people will be on that train just getting to work on a Tuesday. Like they are commuter trains. This is how they operate. So you do need to be mindful of, not overpacking. The other thing I'll say is before you leave for any trip, you want to make sure that your legal documents are in order, that people know where to locate them. Hopefully your will is up to date. I mean, nobody wants to think about the worst case scenario, but these are things that, we're adults. We have to talk about them. Get your stuff right. Make sure that it's organized. And yeah, I think those are my biggest tips for successful travel. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean we
Okay.
talked about all those things. Also being aware of your surroundings because especially
Always
for example like in Paris and within Barcelona, pickpocketing
is
is a huge
huge.
thing. Like I think you
Yeah,
mentioned that
separate,
earlier.
don't carry all of your money in the
Yes.
same pocket, in the same wallet, in the
Also, if you
same.
bring multiple credit cards, don't necessarily carry all of them with you.
Yeah, keep things safe. If you have a piece of luggage, like hopefully your Airbnb or your hotel has a safe. We always utilize our safe. Um, so definitely do that. If you have luggage that has a lock or you can put a lock on it, you can keep some of your valuables there while you're out and about, but you want to spread out your valuables.
Yeah.
So whether you're, carrying cash, you're bringing multiple cards, don't have them all in one place because if something does happen, then you're totally SOL. So you don't want to do that.
Just be aware.
And be aware. Yes. There's also, the pickpockets when for those people who maybe haven't traveled as extensively as we have, the pickpockets are not just like coming up and sticking their hand in your back pocket. Like this is their job. Like they work in teams, they work in groups, they have
Gotta
distractions.
watch out, somebody bumps you.
I remember I remember when we went, a friend of mine, when we were teaching, we took a group to Europe, a group of students, and we told the boys, and the tour guides told the boys, like, if a pretty woman in Italy comes up and starts flirting with you, she is not interested. She is a distraction, and you will be leaving with not your phone, not your wallet, not your watch. Like, sorry, hate to tell you this, but that's how it works. So they will create diversions and distractions, and you know, just be mindful. Just be mindful. In this, I mean, the subways in Paris, especially around the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower, they are notorious for pickpockets. One of the parents got his wallet stolen. Another parent that was traveling with us got their passport stolen. And one person actually had a like breast bag or like a chest bag underneath a sweatshirt. But these people, I'm telling you, they will take little scissors while you're standing all cramped and you're trying not to make awkward eye contact on the subway, and they will straight up cut your book bag strap. They will cut your purse strap. Like,
I'll be making awkward eye contact with everyone. I see you. I see you.
Put things in your bra, put things in whatever crevices you need to keep it safe. Okay. So, anyways, we are super excited about this adventure. I was trying to keep track of like what it's all going to cost. I mean, I can tally up the Airbnbs and, somehow our Amazon cart of like pre-travel
preparation
expenses. I'm like, is this about to be the same amount as the whole trip? I'm confused at what's happening, but we want to be prepared, especially when traveling with our kids. And we can try to figure out how much this whole thing is going to cost in the end, but I'm not going to, spend a million hours tallying it all up. But it all started with, let's just go to Europe for summer camp instead. So that's where we are. So we are going to be, living in the moment. You can follow along in stories. We're going to be posting less on our social media while we're gone. We want to be fully like present and tuned in and locked in with our kids, and really just enjoying and exploring Europe together. I'll shout out one other like blessing is that I'm actually not going to be working, which is the stars totally aligned. Again, if you've been here for a minute, you know that I haven't worked since early March, and I signed a contract with a new company, and I'm really excited. And when I told them about our trip to Europe, they said, well, why don't you just go to Europe and then start in July when you get back? And I was like, oh my gosh, I literally get to frolic through Europe for a month. So yeah, I'm going to be frolicking. Brandon will still be, working kind of part-time, but this is really going to be an epic adventure, I think. So follow along. Ask us any questions. If we missed anything that you're interested in, definitely let us know. But we wanted to let you know that episodes are still going to be releasing throughout the summer, every Wednesday. Some of them might be repeats, but we have some new content coming for you as well. So if you're feeling behind and you haven't been keeping up on all of the episodes that we drop every single Wednesday, this is the perfect time to catch up. Enjoy the summer with your kids. I know school is out for everybody, so enjoy, be safe, and we are happy to answer any questions about our European adventure. And we'll probably come back and do like a recap episode on like what we thought, what went wrong, what went right, how our recommendations, how have our recommendations changed? Is Disney Paris worth it? All the things. So if you have questions about that too, let us know. We'll start kind of aggregating them, and then we can do a we're back from Europe follow-up episode. So thank you for tuning in. We hope you guys have an amazing summer, and we will talk to you soon.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go.